Now we continue with our focus on crime and its effects on the South African communities. The high rate of crime in the country has prompted many to take drastic measures to protect themselves and their homes. These range from increasing the use of private security to upgrading the security on gates, windows and even doorways inside homes. This can make one feel like a virtual prisoner in one's own home, but the circumstances often leave one with no choice. Senior reporter Dasen Thathiah is in Durban to get us more on this particular story. Good morning, Dasen. You know, when we speak of KZN and crime, we're reminded of the July unrest, and what we saw was a great reliance on private security or community forums, which one would say speaks of community members who have lost faith in the police.
Definitely, and that's been the situation here for a long time, where there has been a reliance on private security. Communities basically saying that they want to take their areas back. If you look at how the SAPS is structured, you have a police station that often serves more than one area and a limited number of vehicles and police officers. So it's impossible to have them on every street corner, so to speak, which then extends response times, and it really means that citizens in some cases are left to get more immediate action. Now, one of the initiatives that we are seeing in places like this, where I am now in Effingham Heights, is actually they are looking at putting up boom gates in and around the area, but it's called a virtual estate. So the idea here is not to limit any access, but really to serve as a deterrent to anyone who may come into an area for the wrong reason. So it forms part of an initiative where you have cameras that are monitoring the areas, all of this done through private security companies, much like the one that you're seeing now up at the top there. So it gives a sense of reassurance to residents, you know, in any instances where there might be crime that is taking place. There have been break-ins here as well. We know that just broadly in Durban, it's quite difficult to speak to someone who in recent times hasn't been a victim of crime in some way or form. And you find that after every one of these incidents, they improve their security. It's either electric fencing or gates or high walls and so on. And that's how they're looking at arming themselves. Let me bring in one of the residents now, Karishma Singh, who lives in this area. Karishma, firstly, let's start with you. You've been a victim of crime, I believe, more than once.
Yes.
What kind of impact did that have on you in terms of what did it make you realize about your home and maybe how safe or not safe it was?
Thanks for having me. Well, I'd just like to say that one takes as much precaution as they could. And, you know, it actually affects your quality of life. You know, you have to constantly look over your shoulder, and it's supposed to be a safe haven. Your home's supposed to be, you know, your safety and security, and that's taken away from you. And then your property values start to drop. And being in the field that I am in, you know, a lot of people, I've noticed, a lot of people can't actually afford insurance and things like that. So these types of layering of security actually is put into place to afford the common man, you know, an opportunity to feel safe, you know, especially with the economic crisis that we faced with right now. The common man could rather afford having, you know, contribute to a community effort versus something that's a necessity, which he now sees as a luxury with insurance, etc.
And that's just it. I mean, security now is not a luxury anymore. In fact, it has to be part of your budget every month. So when you know that you've been a victim of crime more than once, you've had break-ins at your home, for example, how do you now reconcile that when you say that if I don't have this, can I really rely purely on the SAPS? How do you feel?
It's actually a brilliant question. In my case, I had to wait at least, I think, 2 days for somebody to come out to take a statement because vehicles were occupied elsewhere. And in that time, you know, the perpetrator is actually at large somewhere else, robbing somebody else. So it actually gives them a playground to go and operate because, you know, the law is not actually for us anymore. We got to go now partner with Blue or whichever security company to actually provide the service that the municipality and government's supposed to be, you know, providing to us as people that voted them into power. And they failed us pathetically.
Has there been a general acceptance of doing something like this, putting up these automated booms in the area, or did you feel that there was a consensus amongst residents to do it?
Well, to have something of this magnitude, you would have to get the buy-in of your community at large. It's not that it's going to, be totally cost-effective, but you got to weigh, and I say compare apples with apples. You had to, sit down, look at the crime stats. We had manned booms previously, but people felt that their movement was restricted. In this way, now with the virtual estate, we are calming traffic. We're not restricting, we're calming traffic, and our number plate recognition would actually pick up perpetrators, alerting blue, okay, there's somebody that's, this unsuspecting character that's trying to go now and go and rob somebody else. So, yeah, we have done this as a community.
I appreciate that. Thank you so much for your time, Karishma Singh there. So very interesting. It seems like more communities are taking this route now of trying to safeguard their own areas, and in instances like this, using initiatives like automated booms and cameras, and hoping that these will be deterrents in bringing down the crime rate.
But most certainly very, very costly, Dasen.